Hi, my name is Cami Wilson. I am a student athlete at the University of Oregon, Go Ducks. I am currently a junior on the acrobatics and tumbling team, and I have definitely been making the most of NIL opportunities. I'm excited to continue doing so.
Awesome. Well, you've done a great job so far, and I know that you've kind of been an Open Doors super user, I would say. I kind of said that in the beginning, but take me back to like your first deal and like getting that first deal notification. Like, what was that like, and what were some of the like, I don't know, like emotions and reactions that came with that?
So thinking back to my first deal on Open Doors, it was through Alba Botanica. And I remember seeing the notification pop up on my phone saying you have a new deal on my text messages, and opening it and seeing that it was Alba Botanica, which is a skincare company I've used since I was a youngin', before knowing what skincare really even was. And to see a name saying we would like to work with you was actually shocking. I called my mom. I was like, oh my gosh, mom, look, Alba Botanica wants to work with me. And just the fact that it happened so seamlessly and so easily through Open Doors was just a really cool feeling to see it pop up and be able to talk through the campaign and make it all happen.
That's awesome. I love like hearing those first reaction stories and just like getting that first notification. I feel like it's so exciting for athletes. And obviously, you're at the University of Oregon. Oregon's a big partner of Open Doors and has been for a while. So, did you hear about Open Doors through the University of Oregon or on your own? And maybe if you have heard about us through University of Oregon, like what have they done in terms of supporting your NIL journey so far?
Yeah. Open Doors has been absolutely amazing in terms of supporting myself and the other Oregon student athletes here to create these opportunities that otherwise wouldn't be possible without NIL. I remember first hearing about Open Doors as we had a representative come to our school, and we were sitting in Matthew Knight Arena, and they blew up the big Open Doors on the big Jumbotron, and it was through GoPuff, and they said, listen, you sign up and we already have a deal for you, and they did. And that was kind of just seeing that and seeing how willing that Open Doors was willing to work with us, and they wanted us to get deals, was extremely encouraging and kind of kickstarted my journey. From there, we actually had Julian. I'm not totally sure of his role, but we had Julian from Open Doors come, and he was gracious enough to kind of give us insight and tips on everything. It was really cool because he actually used me in his little presentation through one of the Open Doors, one of the opportunities that I had made on my social media, and like seeing my screenshotted Instagram up there and being used as an example was a really surreal moment. But it was just cool that people follow up, and Open Doors is really supportive in it. They really understand what it means to be a student athlete and really what it means to be a student athlete navigating NIL, because it's not an easy thing at all. And Open Doors is able to do that for us and make it possible.
That's funny. I shout out Julian. He's literally the best. So I'm glad that he used you as an example. He does a really good job about like making those presentations really personal. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that he did that. And like I said, like you've done quite a few NIL deals so far, and definitely like probably in that top 10%. So what like I guess what life skills have you learned through NIL so far that you're going to take well beyond your career after athletics?
Absolutely. Um, so far in my NIL journey, I've been really lucky enough to get the chance to work with national companies like Champ Sports, Alba Botanica, Lululemon, Bumble, Jersey Mike's and Pepsi, and just really realizing what it means to start with just really securing yourself as an individual, because none of this would have been possible without the social media aspect of it, without just having fun, posting what I wanted to post, and just really creating an authentic personal brand for myself. And just moving forward in my career, I'm really pursuing a business hopefully something in sports. And just as I move on to the next stage of my life, I just hope that I'm really able to remember the connections and the relationships that I have with these people. I think people forget, like, NIL isn't just about making money. It's not just about working with brands. It's really creating relationships. It's about networking. It's about learning how to present yourself, presenting what value you bring to everybody, and diving in to see what makes me as an individual unique, what makes me as an acrobatics and tumbling member differ from somebody else. And I think those are the skills that I'm really going to use moving forward. And just, it's really cool that as a marketing student, studying it in the classroom and being able to connect NIL on such a higher level than any of our case analyses that we're doing, like, throughout our worksheets. And it's been just really cool to see how that goes hand in hand. And I'm excited that I'll be able to use these skills that I've built and do it moving forward.
I was going to ask what your major was, so I'm glad that you said marketing, and I think, yes, you hit the nail on the head with all of that. Like, NIL, the networking opportunities are absolutely endless. Like, it's such a great way to meet other people and talk to people that you'll probably talk to in your future career. And through this interview series, we've heard from a lot of athletes where they're like, oh yeah, I've learned more through NIL than I have in the classroom, which is really wild, like, when you think about it. And I was talking to some other athletes too on this series and talking about how for a lot of athletes, like, NIL is the first time they're filing taxes and the first time they're really making money. So the life lessons through all of it has been really cool to see, like, both personally but also through all the different athletes we work with and how it's impacted them. So I'm glad that you brought all of that up. And I guess too, like, obviously some of the, like, the NIL opportunities come with challenges too. So what's been the hardest part about navigating these NIL opportunities?
Yeah. One of the hardest challenges of navigating NIL opportunities is we're still student athletes on top of all of it. This is really just a part-time job. NIL doesn't just happen. It takes time to talk and negotiate and discuss with these companies as to what they're looking for and as to what we see as a vision for your campaign. So you're taking the time to create an authentic campaign. You're taking the time to really think through the product and how it fits with your social media. You're creating, you're actually filming the content. Then even after that, you're editing the content. And then after that, you're talking with the company to discuss when you're posting it. And after that, you're looking at the post itself and looking how your post does. And that is one small section of your social media in general as well. So once you're doing NIL, you're also dealing with still building your brand, still shooting content, still taking pictures, posting stories, connecting with your fans. And then on top of that, you're still being a student athlete. So you have school, you have practice, and you have to find time in between to do it all. And I think the other big thing of it too that's really difficult is you can't do it all, and just really learning, like, figuring out where you best fit and what's going to be the best fit for you. And as someone who you see all these opportunities and you want to make the most of it all, but it's just not possible because you're one person. So it's really just trying to find that balance and trying to find the time to do it all that's been the most difficult, for sure.
For sure. I definitely agree with you on that one. Like, the time commit, like, it is a part-time job, right? It's like there's a lot of effort that's put into it, and especially like content creation. Like, as a social media manager, I'm doing content creation for a brand day in and day out, and like that's very different than trying to build a personal brand. And it's like, for me now, going back as a student athlete, I'm like trying to be better about like my personal socials, because like deep down I know how to run social media channels, but like it's hard. And like setting up day in the life videos, like, of a lot of people are like, oh, it's like a day in the life video, it's like super easy. No, it's not. Like, there's so many little intricate details that like go into that, and also like just staying authentic and true to yourself on your channels. So I'm glad that you brought that up. I was in a class the other night, and it was like a leadership class, and they're like, oh yeah, they're like, doing like a lot of things and like spreading yourself thin isn't good. And I'm like, I feel called out right now. Like, I'm working, I'm a student athlete, like I just need to like leave the room right now. I'm like, feel like this is aimed directly at me.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you pointed that out too, and just the time commit of it all.
One more thing to that question.
Yeah.
just like as you were talking, I think the other part of NIL that's hard is you yourself is now put in a spotlight that hasn't been shown before. You're trying to market yourself, you're trying to have people understand how you are in a different light, because we all talk about our authentic brand, but I think it's difficult at times to remember what my social media isn't connected to my self-worth. You know what I mean? You see all of these amazing athletes doing amazing things with brands, and I think sometimes we get wrapped up as in, well, why can't I work with them? What do I want to do? And I think that that type of pressure is something that we need to remember as student athletes, that at the end of the day, we're all amazing, we're all doing our own thing, and we're all unique in ourselves, and that's kind of where it stems from. So that's just definitely been something that I've been learning to deal with, and just really being confident in what I'm doing and trusting my own path and remembering all that good stuff too.
100% agree with that. And I think a lot of people, like, especially in the NIL education space, like, their biggest piece of advice is always like, be authentic. But like, what does that mean? And I feel like being authentic means something different for every person. And I think that's part of, I don't know, like the complexity of it. Like, it's very easy to be said of like, oh, like, be authentic, like, be true to yourself. But like, for every single athlete, that's going to be different of like how they view that. So like, I don't know, especially on like our open door social media channels, like when I say be authentic, sometimes I have to like, I don't know, I think I wrote a thread a while back of like what being authentic actually means.
Yeah,
And it's just kind of interesting, like how you can kind of take that a billion different ways, to be honest.
absolutely.
But I guess some like fun questions to end it. That's kind of like the main majority questions that I have. But if you received $1,000 from an NIL deal, how would you spend that money?
Usually any NIL compensation has been really helpful in terms of paying for the day in and day out stuff. However, if I had $1,000 to spend freely, I would definitely buy a pair of Jordans for sure. Big shoe girl, have way too many shoes, but you know what, that's that. Definitely go out to a nice dinner with friends, because I am on the Trader Joe's frozen meal path right now. And I think it would be fun to not do that for one night. And definitely, knowing me, I'd go out and buy some new makeup, like a reset of my everyday stuff. You know what I mean? Like, all my stuff at
Yeah.
this point is down to the last squeezing bottle. So I'd take a big Target trip and would go and rebuy all my products, is what I'd do with 1,000.
There you go. I am also a regular at Trader Joe's, so I gotta ask too, like, what's your favorite Trader Joe's like frozen meal? I feel like there's like so many options, and like this is more a question for me personally, just because I'm always looking for new things.
My favorite meal is the chicken tiki masala. It's like
I've
it's
had that one.
my
That one is
favorite
good.
one.
Last question. If you could do, I know you've done quite a few NIL deals, but if you could do one with any brand, who would it be?
Woo! I mean, obviously, going to the University of Oregon, my dream NIL deal would be with Nike. I think
Yeah.
that, especially with acrobatics and tumbling, it's an up and coming sport. We're NCAA emerging, and I think seeing anything, we're wearing Nike day in and day out. I, as an all-star cheerleader, grew up in Nike Pros. That's all I have. I have a full drawer of Nike Pros, and I think my dream NIL deal would be doing it with Nike Pros. Not even anything else, just the Nike Pros itself would be my dream NIL deal. And the little 8-year-old me that was begging my parents to get me the like lime green polka dot Nike Pros would be so blunt. We're talking about excitement of NIL deals. I would probably pass away if I got a screenshot saying Nike Nike wants to work with me on the Nike Pro NIL deal. That would be it. I'd quit after that. I'd be like,
That's
nope,
amazing.
nothing else.
Yeah, I think you need to call up Phil Knight. I feel like he's probably around campus enough, so uh, I do like that one. That one's like just spot on. That would
I
be
agree
great.
with Phil Knight. If you're listening to this, hit me up. I'm in Matthew Knight Arena practicing Monday through Friday. Let me know.
There we go. But yeah, thank you so much for your time. This was great.